Good evening, ladies and gentlemen and councillors, and welcome to this Sandwich Town Council ordinary meeting on Monday the 25th of September 2023. Item number 1 is the Chair's opening remarks. I've got quite a few because it's been a very busy month. First of all, I'd like to say a very big thank you to Councillor Ungerson in the house. No, she isn't. Well, I'd like to say a very big welcome and thank you to Councillor Ungerson. She invited me along to meet the dependents of the Jewish refugees who were in the Kitchener camp over in Port Richborough, and every year they come into Sandwich and they have a celebration luncheon, and then they come across to the museum and the Guildhall as well. And it was very pleasant to meet the dependents and relatives of the Jewish refugees, and it was very nice to maintain that tradition that Sandwich always respects and accepts refugees into its heart. That's very nice. I'd just like to report that the town clerk and I undertook very successful interviews for an assistant caretaker, and we've now engaged an assistant caretaker who's been having training for the last 2 weeks, and I believe this evening his maiden voyage on locking up the Guildhall this evening. So in 2 weeks he's learned an awful lot, but it's taken us forward with our staffing, so we've now got additional support there for Woody for the caretaking there. I'd also like to add this Thursday the town clerk and I are undertaking the interviews for the assistant town clerk and assistant RFO position, and dependent on the amount of notice that the successful candidate will need, we could have an assistant town clerk and RFO officer within at least a month's notice. So that's another step forward, which is really good. I'd like to also say thank you to anybody that came. We had a very successful Battle of Britain parade on the 15th, Friday the 15th of September, and it was a very great success. There was very good weather and it was very well attended, so thank you. That was maintaining yet another great tradition for the council. It's very important to remember the fallen. I called in and undertook a walkabout in Cowley's Meadow, and that was on Saturday the 16th of September, and a number of councillors joined me, and we walked around Cowley's Meadow with the voluntary tree warden, and we were made aware of the hedge planting that is going to be undertaken along the back of the petrol filling station, and also which will come up as a future item on the agenda, the planting of a coppice at the far end, which will support Sandwich Town Council's declaration of an emergency climate change. I also undertook, which was actually extremely enjoyable, the official openings of the Sandwich Arts Week, which was really good, both at Sir Roger Manwood School. So I saw the GCSE and A-level work, which was absolutely superb, absolutely incredible work that the students are doing there. And then in the evening I undertook the official opening at St Mary's Church, and I'd like to thank the organisers for organising this for another year. Absolutely brilliant work and a brilliant event. Whole week of events is just incredible. So, and it puts Sandwich on the map as to arts and crafts. And then the last thing that I did was undertook, it was quite enjoyable. I undertook a fancy dress parade as I dressed in my finery last Sunday, and I was escorted from the Guildhall to the church with our attendant and our mace, and I undertook to represent the town council at the official induction of the new rector, who is Sebastian Hamilton. And I had discussions with him after this service, which was attended by Bishop Rose of Dover, and he said that he was very encouraged to work with the town council in a number of areas, and he hopes that the town council and St Clement's Church will work in unison in future now he's in post. So that was very nice to meet with somebody as positive as that. And the last thing I needed to mention was this is to do with the noise complaint from the White Mills Wake that has been raised, and this matter has been deferred until next month's agenda, and this is due to we're awaiting information from the official officers at Dover District Council, and until we have that information we can't bring it into the agenda, so we're waiting on DDC for that. So possibly Councillor Morehouse may be able to chase up on the information that the town clerk needs there. Thank you very much. Okay, that's all my busy happenings during the month of September. We'll move on to item number 2, which is the apologies for absence received. I'll ask my town clerk what apologies we have.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. So we have apologies from Councillor Sue Chandler from Kent County Council, Councillor Dan Friend from Dover District Council, Councillor Breen, who is on a travel commitment, Councillor Fortescue, who's on a travel commitment, Councillor Pennington, who's on a travel commitment, and Councillor Ungerson on a travel commitment. Thank you.
I just wanted to add under this point that I have myself been in communication with Councillor Pennington's wife, and I just wanted to report back that he's obviously been absent from council. You may have asked and thought why he was absent from council, and he has been ill, but I've been in communication with his wife, and he's making a recovery, and we're allowing him time to get back to a fully recovered state before he returns to council. But I did send all your regards to him and hope that he'd recover as soon as possible. Thank you. Item number 3 is declaration of interests. Can I ask if anybody has any disclosable pecuniary interests from members in respect of business that is to be transacted on the agenda tonight? Please declare it now. Okay, Councillor Black first, please.
It's not a pecuniary interest, it's a significant interest. I will withdraw when you come to item 17 about committee membership. However, I will read a short statement as to how we got here, or how my perception of how we got here.
Thank you very much for that. Councillor Morehouse?
I was just alerting you to.
Oh, thank you, that's very kind of you.
Thank you.
That's nice, good of you. And then item number 4, minutes of the full council meeting. Attachment number 1, to approve the minutes of the ordinary meeting of Sandwich Town Council held on the 21st of August 2023, and to consider any matters arising from those minutes not covered elsewhere in this agenda. So that is attachment number 1. Could I have somebody to propose the minutes and somebody to second those?
I've got a couple of comments first.
Indeed, you may raise your comments, Councillor Chuka.
So there's an action that's been outstanding since June. Well, there's actually 2 I wanted to cover, but one that I'm sure I haven't missed the update, but the meeting between KCC, DDC and Stagecoach regards the bus stop. Quite an important issue to get some feedback on, but I believe the meeting happened, but Not heard anything so far.
Okay, thank you very much.
If I may.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Mr. Mayor, thank you. Councillor Suka, myself, Councillor Green and Councillor Wiles had a meeting with DDC and KCC, the project manager for DDC, and KCC designer, the design team for the bus stop. We had an in-depth conversation. We were told by the DDC projects officer that we were going to get all the paperwork, the safety audits, all the plans, everything, and that was at that time. We still haven't received those plans or those bits of paper. As soon as we do, we have been chasing it. The town clerk has been chasing them. As soon as we do, myself, Councillor Mallet, and Councillor Wiles and Councillor Green have a meeting. You're more than welcome to attend if you wish to discuss what we go forward regarding Town Council against the bus stop.
Thank you for that update there. Town Clerk, did you need any assistance with the papers from Councillor Morehouse at all? Because they've been quite a lengthy.
Yeah, I'm happy to, I know that there's been annual leave undertaken by the officers, so I'm happy to chase that tomorrow.
Okay, thank you very much. Councillor Black?
Can I ask is Stagecoach present at this meeting?
No.
They also.
Well, that's not your responsibility. It's a bit pointless if the operator isn't there. Quite frankly, it's hopeless.
The action on this point resides with the town clerk, who would chase up those papers. Could we also ask if Stagecoach could be approached so that we can have some communication from them? They did come here previously, but we've not had any update from them since. Okay. Did you have further items,
only
Councillor?
two more. So.
Yeah, indeed.
One going back to June as well. Not maybe as important as a bus stop to many, but to a few, I'm sure it will be. We had an action to have a report in on the budget for the allotments. So it's just the fact that we're now into August and then we'll be into September. I just wanted to know where that might be.
Okay.
And then the final one, it's a similar one, but it's from the August meeting, and that was a report. It's quite a lengthy action that I've got noted. This month we were due to get a report on the costs relating to keeping the public toilets open from November to March, with a comparison of the conveniences of the quay if they're closed for the same period, and the costs were to include the impact on the budget for the fiscal year and for a full year next year. So quite an extensive action, but again it hasn't appeared this time, so there might be very good reasons, but it's not here.
Indeed, thank you for that. So, Town Clerk, would you like to
Yes,
address those 2 points, please?
thank you, members. As I've said previously, we are in this situation. We don't have enough resource at the moment. The staff on the ground are very limited. I only have capacity for a certain amount of work. We're in the middle of the recruitment process as well, which obviously takes time for me as well. These are actions that I will get to, but please, your patience would be appreciated.
I'm very patient.
Thank you very much. Thank you for raising those points. Councillor Wiles.
Yeah, on the August minutes, not item 823.8, the verbal report from Councillor Chandler. The very last bullet point there is about wayfarers. I believe at that meeting I raised the issue of who is doing the work, who is it being let to or sold to or leased to, who is the provider going to be, and she undertook to write to the Town Council giving an answer on those questions, and I don't believe that has yet been received.
No.
Unless the town clerk knows otherwise. So I would ask if the minutes could reflect that and that we chase her for a proper response, because we know there's lots of work going on there, but we know nothing about what on earth's going on.
That's correct. Oh, the Town Clerk.
Yeah, I'll report that in the minutes, and I will chase Councillor Sue Chandler.
That's good of you. Thank you very much for that. Thank you for raising those minutes. Councillor Black.
Yes, 823.9 about the closure of Folkestone. I thought we had agreed that Sandwich Town Council will be writing to South East Trains and also to Network Rail to see what the possibilities are of any timetabling using the Parkway, because trains don't stop at the Parkway.
Yeah.
And I thought, now if you're snowed under with that, I mean, you and I can talk and I can do something, but I think it's important that we do at least raise the issue, and as we're members of the Strategic Rail Partnership, shouldn't we do it?
Indeed. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
Clerk.
Yes, I'm happy to take up Councillor Black's offer there to work with him for that item. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. So if there's no more items to raise, I would like somebody to propose and second the
Aye.
previous minutes.
Items.
Councillor Marie and Councillor Tuka there. And all those in favour, please signify.
Thank you.
Unanimous. Thank you very much for that. Okay. Are you okay there?
Yes, fine, thank you.
Super.
I've got them ready.
Oh, super,
ready
that's
to
good.
sign.
And then item number 5 is the payment schedules. 5A, to receive and note payments.
Sorry,
Mr.
Mr.
Mayor,
Mayor, you're going back
the other
to
minutes.
the other minutes.
Oh, indeed, yeah, thank you. Sorry, thank you for that. So, beg your pardon. Item number 4, to receive the minutes of the Heritage and Townscape Committee meeting held on the 10th of July 2023. And this is attachment 2A. Any issues with those minutes? And then a proposer and seconder as well, please, for those minutes. Are there any issues or concerns? Councillor Marie?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So hang on, bear with me. So it is item HT 07236, proposal the same as the District Tourism Forum. I couldn't speak about this last month because it wasn't on the agenda, so I speak about it now. Can the town clerk advise me when, if any, time frame's been given for meetings to take place and what councillors are going to be picked for that? Because time is running out very, very quickly, as you know what I do for a living. Time is running out for tourism to plan it for next year. So, yeah, I mean, we've pretty much lost the winter time, Christmas time now for tourism, but next year hopefully we can get the ball rolling. I just want to see if there's any time frames.
Indeed, sure. Town clerk?
Yes, so that is on the list for the October agenda. Obviously, things are sliding up the priorities list now, and I appreciate that there is a lot to get through. That's why we're in that situation. It's very apparent, I think, as well. I've spoken to the mayor. We're going to have an extraordinary meeting in October as well to get some more work done. So there's likely to be two meetings in October for STC.
Were there any other matters arising from the Heritage and Townscape minutes at all? If there weren't any, could I have a proposer and a seconder for those minutes? Councillor Tuka and Councillor Morehouse for those ones. And all those in favour, please signify. So I've got
Two
one.
abstains.
Is it?
Yeah.
That's it. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And the last item is to receive the minutes of the Planning Committee meeting held on the 13th of September 2023, and this is attachment 3A. Do we have any comments on the planning minutes? If not, I would like a proposer and a seconder for the planning minutes. I'm quite happy to propose them. I was there, so and Councillor Franklin is to second those. All those in favour, please signify.
2, 3,
3 abstention.
4. Thank you.
4.
I regret to abstain because I wasn't able to attend.
Indeed. Just make a note of that.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you for that. And moving on, item number 5, payment schedules. Item 5A is to receive and note the payments for mid-September, totalling 25,843.82. Those payments which are not supported by a minute reference have been authorised by officers with delegated powers of expenditure. And item 5B, to receive and approve the scheduled payments for September, totalling 1,926.24.
2 C's, the next one.
Is that the next one? That's it. And that's item 4B. So those two items we can take together. I need to have a proposer and a seconder for those two items.
Propose.
Councillor Marie proposing and seconder Councillor Gray. And all those in favour, please. Thank you. Okay. Item 5C, Council to confirm nomination of 2 signatories to authorise the end of September payment schedules on Bankline. Item 5D, Council to confirm nomination of 2 signatories to propose mid-October payment schedules on Bankline. I'm prepared to put myself forward. Did we have a second, Councillor? Oh, of each. I think, oh yeah, we have Councillor Wiles
Councillor Wiles.
this time round, and
Okay.
Councillor Marine next time if he
Thank you.
places. Thank you for that.
Could I just
Indeed.
make a point on that? A number of us did ask to be registered to support this function. There were a lot of errors with the bank in terms of setting us up, and we're going back now a couple of months at least. So just whether Town Clerk could take that back to the Finance Officer, because she was going to go through the process again of getting us on board.
Validated. Thank you for notifying me about that. I wasn't actually aware of what other councillors have been set up, so that is a very useful update.
Thank
Indeed,
you.
Town Clerk.
Could I just ask which councillors we're talking? Is it you, councillors?
Certainly me.
Yes. Okay. Councillor
Councillor
Ripley.
Ripley.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, that's super. Oh yes,
Yeah,
Councillor
Mr.
Marine.
Mayor, sorry, I was going to suggest someone else because I'm having problems as well
Oh, are
getting
you?
onto bank lines, but I did rectify it. I was in central London, one of the busiest places for the network for Wi-Fi and stuff, but I couldn't get on for lots more money. So I spoke to the RFO, but luckily I've done it when I got in late that night. So if someone else can take over for this month, that'd be much appreciated.
That's super. Thank you for that update. And of course, we've got Councillor Wiles too as the secondary one there. Thank you very much. And could we just have a vote on Councillor Wiles and myself being the two signatories, please? All those in favour?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. And item number 6 is my favourite part of the evening, which is public participation. And thank you very much, that's so kind of you. And a 20-minute session is set aside for members of the public to make representations at this meeting in respect of business on the agenda or other matters if time permits. Individual representations should not exceed 5 minutes. Written notice of the desire to exercise the right to speak, together with the topic to be addressed, must be given to the Town Clerk prior to noon on the day of the meeting. And this evening we have Joanna Thompson, who's representing the sandwich shop. Would you like to, Joanna Thompson is, yeah, oh yes, would you like to perhaps just come forward so everybody can see you, if that's right? Would that be on camera?
Prefer not to be.
Oh,
Rather not.
where would
Choosing not to be. That's
Oh, right.
absolutely
Oh,
fine.
okay.
That's absolutely fine.
Is that okay?
Yep, that's not on camera. You're
great.
good.
That's, you're not on camera.
Sorry,
If
is the laptop live?
I'm not sure actually.
It's on your back, so just move slightly. That's it.
Oh, that's fine. Apologies for that. So we've got two systems running. If you'd like to,
Mr. Mayor?
you've
You need to remind the person about the code we've got.
I was just going to say that actually. Thank you, Councillor Black. So you have 5 minutes starting when I say go, and Councillor Black has a time scheme which will go yellow, amber and red, which will be opposite you. When you see the amber sign, you will have 1 minute left, and when the red sign comes up, I'd ask you to cease talking, if that's okay. Thank you. Sorry for the complication. I'll remind you as it progresses. Would you like to begin, please?
Okay, I've been working at the sandwich shop for the past 8 years and was given the opportunity to take the shop on as my own business as of May this year. Once a new business was registered, DDC informed us we would need to reapply for our tables and chairs licence. We did this with lots of support from locals and customers and only one objection from STC. We were not asking for anything more than the shop had been granted in previous years. I couldn't understand why our local council would be against a small business continuing to operate as it had previously. No request for increase in the amount of tables was ever made by us. To now learn that STC wished to charge us to have the tables and chairs on the forecourt seems unreasonable for the following reasons. No information was sent out before work was carried out on the forecourt stating that it was STC's intention to charge us for the seating. The sandwich shop had a massive loss of earnings due to our customers not being able to sit and enjoy their visit due to noise, mess and obstruction whilst the work was being carried out. The loss of earnings went well into the summer due to the works overrunning and not being completed until the end of July. No compensation for this loss of income has been offered by STC or DDC. It's been stated the forecourt has been improved for the benefit of residents of Sandwich, yet we are expected to help pay off the loan as a small business already working with tight margins due to the increase in prices for goods, utilities, wages and rent. How would we be able to afford another extra added cost? There's now less seating for public on the forecourt since work's finished, meaning we often have members of the public sitting at our tables and chairs without even purchasing from us. It appears to me that STC do not support my small business and would in fact make my business inviable if I have to make such payments on top of the loss of earnings during the forecourt redevelopment. Turnover has not increased from last year. We keep our prices reasonable for our customers and feel it wouldn't be right to increase our prices to make up for the forecourt loan when there are funds within STC that could be used. For instance, the money in estate left to STC by one of our regular customers, Georgina Maddox. And if any of you knew her, like I knew her, I think you'd agree she would be turning in her grave to know that the council is making money from her estate rather than helping a small business.
Oh, thank you very much for that. So, could you say that we could reply by letter? Addressing letters, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Oh yes, I was just checking with the town clerk. So we will be writing to you, if that's okay, to reply to those items now, but we don't reply actually at the meeting to the items. Did you give a copy of your speech to the town clerk at all?
I haven't,
Or,
I can.
or if you were able to, if you
Yes,
give a
please.
speech, and then we will write to you directly addressing all the issues that you've raised there. Thank you for coming this evening and addressing the council. That's very brave. Thank you. Okay. Item number 7 is a verbal report from our Dover District Councillor on matters relating directly to Sandwich. Councillor Morehouse, did you have a report for us at all, please?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. As you are probably aware, there's no further meeting at DDC until the 18th of October. But in the meantime, I've kept myself busy. The devil makes work not idle hands. I have contacted DDC about the mosquito problem, and I have a response which is quite lengthy, so I won't bore you with the details, but I will share the email that I got from Ian Woodland today in response to the mosquito problem, which is Sandwich-wide and not, as they suggest, fairly isolated. I've also been in touch with Dover District Council about the new green waste scheme, which is adversely affecting anyone with a large garden, anyone with no access to the rear of their property. And there are some houses in Sandwich where the only means of getting your garden waste from back to front is through the household. And as I'm aware, the DSA don't provide licences for manoeuvring a wheelie bin through your house. Thirdly, I have been in touch with DDC about the play areas, and again, I will update as soon as I have a response. I've also contacted DDC about the calling in the planning application on the former Wayfarers site. Although I couldn't attend the planning meeting, I'm totally in agreement with the fact that the proposal is completely incongruous to the location. And I think that's about it for now.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
I have been busy sending emails, and as I receive responses, I will share them with the council.
Well, thank you very much for that, Councillor Morehouse. And as I say, during the evening, if any matters arise where we need the assistance or movement of items by Dover District Council, I'd be pleased if you could take up those actions during the evening. Thank you very much for that. Item number 8 is a verbal report from our KCC councillor on matters relating directly to Sandwich. Do we have a report?
No,
We don't. Okay. Could we ask that the if the county councillor, if she's not going to be present, if she could give a written report, which I believe was agreed by herself, and we changed the terms of reference. Thank you very much.
Could I ask a question on that?
Is it directly relating to this
yes.
matter?
So,
Indeed.
as you know, there is one major road-related matter that a number of people, residents, but also councillors, including myself, have gone to KCC about, and it seems to have gone into a dark hole. The junction, Delft Street, on the corner, it's just sitting there as a problem. We've already had one car written off. We've got a number of motorcyclists that I've spoken to who have said that it's beyond dangerous. We really need an update in terms of what they plan to do.
Thank you indeed.
It is complex though, there's a number of parties that have responsibility for all the holes there, so I'm sure it's not easy, but at least it would be good to get a response.
It would indeed, yes. Thank you for that. Councillor Morehouse, did you?
Apologies, two items I forgot to mention. One is the lines, I'll chase up on the lines, and secondly I'll chase up on the waterways.
Thank you for that.
Mr Mayor.
Could we ask the remind the KCC councillor about the Delft Street and Harnett
Yes.
Street, just as a reminder
Yes.
to get an update before the bad weather starts, because it is a very dangerous junction there. So that's super. Thank you very much. Item number 9, I would be asking for updates from Sandwich Town councillors to receive and note verbal updates from councillors on meetings that they have attended as nominated representatives of this council. Do we have Councillor Marie? Would you
Yes,
like
thank
to
you,
address
Mr.
the
Mayor.
council?
So I attended the Dover District Neighbourhood Watch Association at East Street on the 25th of August, East Street Village Hall. The new committee was officially formed, and the constitution which I have in my hand is to be updated regarding it. So I have to report to council that Andrew Judd, the Kent Police coordinator for Neighbourhood Watch, has since left his post. So the post is vacant at the moment, but he's being looked after by the staff there. When it's filled, I will let the council know. In regards to Sandwich Neighbourhood Watch scheme is being rectified at the moment. A constitution is being drawn up. I have the roadshows are being organised for the town, for the Guildhall, and that will include Kent County Council road safety unit to come down as well regarding the speeding and the drifting and stuff that's been happening around the town. They're heavily involved and they wish to come to join us to reassure residents. Stuff like that. That's about it. The other thing is quickly as well, this will put in the notice board, is the Dover District Disability Association have their AGM on the 16th of October at the Baptist Church in Mason Dew Road in Dover. I'll give this to the town clerk to put on the notice board. Also, this would be good for the Disability Access Group that works for Sandwich, Councillor Anderson, because have this as well.
Indeed, thank you very much for those updates. Councillor Tuka.
Yes, just a couple of updates of activities I was involved in. The first two were actually with Councillor Ripley. So we ran the first drop-in session for residents to meet with either councillors or PC Matt Hawkes. We held it in the Age Concern Centre. The real value of doing it at the Age Centre is that it's quite busy in terms of residents visiting there during the day. So whilst we had a small number of people who wanted to see us personally, a small number that wanted to see both ourselves and PC Hawkes, and then a few that wanted to see PC Hawkes alone. We also were able to engage with residents there and introduce ourselves as councillors, so it was a fairly buoyant 90 minutes of activity. The next meeting for October, I already passed the baton over to Councillor Black and Councillor Tonley. So they're going to arrange that. Hopefully, we're going to be going out on the road maybe to the Jubilee Centre. That's in discussion. Yeah.
Oh, super. If I could just be advised of the date, or the town clerk could be advised of the date of the next drop-in session, that'd be Councillor Black.
Yeah, we're in the process of having discussions, and also we need to get the timetable sorted out with the PC as well. But that's all a work in progress now.
Indeed, thank you for that. And Councillor
The
Tuka.
second main activity was myself and Councillor Ripley met with a number of residents from Whitefriars Meadow to hear their concerns relating to the proposed development of land at the back of their properties. Really good session, I thought, in terms of engaging with those residents. We were able to make it very clear that STC is clearly opposed to the development, so much so that a number of us will be attending the hearing when it's run in November, with the intention of speaking to oppose the intended planning application. The other thing it really gave us a good value to do was to respond to a leaflet drop that had been made by a DDC councillor.
Indeed.
That was written in very clear words that STC had let them down. So we were able to make it very clear that that wasn't true, and we were good evidence of the fact that we are going to go to the hearing, and the council has done all as it should have done up to that point.
Indeed, that's correct. Thank
Okay,
you.
and then just one very bright light activity. I've engaged with a few of the residents over at Wonson Lees, talked to a number of them regards the event that was in August at the Wake Park, and I'm glad to hear it's going to be discussed next time, because there are some issues that need to be covered and discussed.
Indeed, we are just waiting for the information on that before we can bring that forward. Thank you for that. That's very interesting, Councillor Chuka, because what you've been undertaking yourself and your colleagues is what we said we would do way back in May at the annual general meeting, is that we would engage with the residents and the public of Sandwich much more on the important issues that need to be discussed and talked about. So thank you very much to Councillor Ripley as well to that, and I look forward to the other councillors taking turns in holding surgeries as well. Councillor Mallet.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a quick rundown on where we are with Sandwich lights switch on and the lights going up. Normally it would be Mr. Councillor Marie who would give this report, but he wasn't there, so I heard in Wales it's appropriate for me to brief you.
Okay. Are you posing a question or
No, it's a councillor report of the meeting that we've had recently.
Oh, indeed. Oh, thank you.
And that is very briefly that the committee has met. We've allocated tasks with regard to procession, with regard to the assembly on the forecourt, lights on the forecourt, leaflet going out, brochure. Basically, we're also in communication with Age Concern, because they are having an activity on the same day which we're working with, and then later on in the evening I know the Fleur is, and we're trying to make sure that we link anything that we're doing with other events going on in town on the same day, so that there's no competition or whatever, and we can include them all on our programme. Apart from that, the only concern we have is that we normally use the cherry picker from Sandwich Property Care. That is out of action at the moment, so we are doing our best to work around that.
Right, I see.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much for that update. Could you make sure that any information, the dates and the times and what have you, are given to the town clerk so that we can support this event?
Yes.
It's
On that matter, of course, we have spoken about your own presence, and we raised that at the committee, and obviously the invite that I informally advised you is being formally agreed, so I will.
That's very kind of you. Thank you very much. It'd be a great pleasure to support the event. And as I say, if you have any information, because we're coming to the end of September now, if you can give any information to the town clerk, it can then be posted on both the website and the town council's new Facebook page as well, to promote it well in advance. We usually have very large attendances. So
of course, yes.
Indeed. Thank you for that, Councillor Mallet. Councillor Wiles.
Yep. If that's the end of that item, I just wanted to propose under Standing Order 11H that we change the order of business, because I think several of the members of the public are here to talk about item 16. I might be wrong, but I think on that item, so they might well wish to sit through another 5 items, but perhaps if the order was changed, we could deal with that item and then they could decide whether they wanted to stay.
Right, I see. Item number 16, yeah? Would that be okay?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Thank you for that, Councillor Wiles there. Did we have a report from the police constable or community warden?
No, he isn't able to attend this evening. He was hoping to, but he's been called away. That's PC Matt Hawks, and the warden isn't able to attend this month.
Okay then. So, in advance of item number 10, report from the police constable and community warden for Sandwich. We don't have any reports from PC Matt Hawks or the community warden Peter Gill. So, so that item has been deferred. So what we would do is, I can bring item number 16, you say?
Well, I'm proposing that.
Yeah, we need to
Indeed.
So you need to vote on it.
Yeah,
Indeed, yeah. So I'm proposing to bring forward item number 16 to where item number 10 would be, so that the members of the public can listen to, and it can be discussed by the councillors. All those in favour of moving the item?
agreed.
Okay, that's okay. Okay, so item number 16, draft Guildhall Square forecourt hire agreements, including market regulations. And this is for members to consider a report from the Town Council, including the draft market regulations, hire agreements, including commercial for the forecourt, draft licences and proposed fees to include tables and chairs on the forecourt. This is attachment 10, and a decision is required on this evening. So this is to adopt the market rules and hire agreement and agree whether it's applicable, I believe. Is that correct?
Yes, it is. Yes. So I did work with Councillor Tuka on these documents. So these are the final draft that I'm proposing. I know that it was debated at the last meeting, and obviously there was a lot to look at in that month. So this is the draft that I'm proposing. Obviously, it is a raft of documents. There are the rules for the market, which is one document, and then you have the events proposal as well, with fees, and as well as the tables and chairs proposal as well for the licence. So I don't know if members want to take each document on its own, or I think that would probably be the best approach.
Did you have the individual documents?
Yes.
there?
Yeah.
Okay, nothing wrong.
A lot of paper. That's the first one.
Super,
the market
thank you
rules.
very much. Okay. So we have the, as the town clerk quite rightly said, it's a large number of documents, and this is a very important issue. So I'd like to discuss the Sandwich Town Council Market Rules document, and this has the introduction, principles, contraventions, operating times, prescribed days, hours, stall areas, reservation and allocation of pitches, non-attendance, time limits, personal property, surrender of pitches, storage of goods and sale of fresh food, vehicles, noise behaviour, hygiene, cleansing of stalls, compliance with statutory regulations and health and safety, insurance, compliance with directions of the market manager, termination, goods offered for sale, complaints and changes in rules and regulations. So there are all the sub-paragraphs. I take it the councillors have read through this document. Are there any issues to raise before we vote on this document? Councillor Marine?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So, a couple of things. I very much welcome the no vehicles on the square. As we've seen over the last 2 months, there's been a trial with the vehicles on the square, part of the working group that made that available. However, it didn't work, made the square look cluttered. We weren't parking on the correct places. So the ban on all vehicles, apart from when you're working out the vehicles, is very much welcome. The idea of the 1 o'clock, no one's allowed on the square to 1 o'clock is a good idea as well. There's been a numerous amount of times that vehicles have gone on the square while the square's been full with people, which is dangerous. The other thing I'd just like to question the town clerk, why is it gone to the 3x3 metre pitch gone down to £10 instead of 20 that it was previously before? The previous pitches were £20 a day for a 3x3 metre and £40 a day for up to a 6x6 metre. I just want to know why they've been lowered. I mean, if the council's trying to make money to pay the works loan off, this is an opportunity to do so, and also to raise revenue for the council.
Indeed, town clerk, would you like to-
Yes, so to my knowledge, there was a proposal to make it £20, but I don't believe it was £20. It was £20 the first week I started as market manager because people were having their vehicles on the square as well as the stall. So it was £10 for the 3 metre by 3 metre and £10 for the vehicle. So to my knowledge, it hasn't been £20 unless you know historically that it was, but to my knowledge, it hasn't been. Is that okay? Is that
I think
yeah.
yes.
Thank you.
Obviously, Councillor Marie, you can put forward a proposal, an amendment to this if you wanted to, and it could be voted upon.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that I mean, some traders may be angry with me, but I do feel that £10 is a bit too cheap for a market. I mean, some markets charge £50–60 per day to be on the square, or to be on a market stall. Some of them earn a lot of money. I know we have a very small market at the moment, and I know Mrs. Glynn and others have been working very hard to promote the market and to bring the market up to where it was pre-COVID. I just feel that the £10 is a bit too less to what I do believe. If I do make a proposal, it would be for £20 for a 3x3 metre pitch, and the £40 for up to a 6x6 metre pitch. That would be my proposal.
Thank you for that. Did you do comparisons with other markets at all?
Yes, there was a lot of work done. Yes, sorry, Mr. Mayor. There was a lot of work done comparisons with other markets. So this is in line with what other markets are charging. So I mean, there is obviously capacity for reviewing the fees next year. That's something that can be considered.
So this would be this fee in order to get the market actually up to a sizable strength.
In that case, I'm happy with that. Then, if it's purely to boost the market, then I'm happy with that.
Get it
we need to boost it. The market is dying. We
Get
need
it up to
boost
strength, indeed.
This has been a market town for hundreds of years, so we need to make sure the market continues.
Indeed, we will work to that endeavour. Thank you, Councillor Marie. Councillor Chuka?
Just a couple of comments. So one of the things I would ask, and for it to be logged as an action, is to meet with the stall holders after this meeting to talk them through the documents, give them the opportunity to ask questions rather than it just being delivered to them. I think that's one essential aspect. Just a couple of aspects in it, and picking up on Councillor Marie's point, I think it might just need to be beefed up a bit about the vehicles not going onto the Yorkstone, because it was quite a contentious issue at the start. We've now got through that barrier, which is brilliant, but I think it needs to be to be recorded in the document itself. And then secondly, we might just want to look at the electricity charge. It is very cheap, and this isn't just for the market, it's for elsewhere. So could we look at that again? Sorry, I know we went through it, but £1 a day does seem very generous.
So £1 an hour.
So £1 an hour does seem very. Let me throw away the last few words. £1 an hour seems very generous.
That's good. Well, thank you very much. Okay then. So those items have been discussed. So this has been drafted and revised, and it's been checked. There's been comparisons made with other markets by the town council, by the town clerk. This is the final draft to go forward. It's a fresh start to rebuild the market and move it forward on our new forecourt. It's very important to get that initial start, to get more stalls in and a variety of good quality stalls in for the residents of Sandwich. And I think this document addresses that. So I would very much like to propose that this document is adopted, and I'd look for somebody to second that, please. Councillor Gray, to adopt that. And all those in favour of this document? Okay, and the next document is conditions for community and commercial hire of the Guildhall Square forecourt. And this is application of the use of the forecourt, conditions of hire, risk assessments, use of electricity, hire, decorations and advertising, alcohol licences, caretakers, liability, cancellation, furniture, refuse and rubbish, breach by any hirer, dealing with complaints, and the fees. Item number 15 is the fees. And this puts down the pitch fees and also commercial events that would take place on the Guildhall forecourt. As was said earlier this evening, this town council has taken out a considerable loan, public works loan, on behalf of the residents of Sandwich, and it's our duty to make full use of that forecourt, the best possible use we can, and make sure that anybody that has any use of the forecourt from here on in pays the dues that are expected, and that is a workable area. It's leased from Dover District Council by Sandwich Town Council, and it's a working area. So we must remember that it must be paid off. It's a piece of real estate that is very, very important to the town. This document reflects that and raises those matters. Do I have any discussion on that document? Councillor Morehouse, first of all.
I would like to propose that we begin this on the 1st of January 2024, because the events will not have budgeted for this kind of fee this year. So I propose that we begin this document commencing the 1st of January 2024.
Okay, thank you very much. That's been noted. I think Councillor Tuker was next.
I just wanted to emphasise a bit more in terms of the words that you've given, because it almost could be interpreted that we're sort of looking at it from a business perspective. As a council, this council has inherited this debt, so let's be really clear about that. Secondly, this council has to meet a commitment that was made by the previous council, which is it will be self-financing. So any questions about, well, can't the council get the money from elsewhere, is actually not a starter for this situation. We have to fund the £12,000 per year for 50 years from what that space earns. So as a starting point, I'll just leave it there. I just want to make sure it's really clear that that's noted.
It's a legacy. Thank you very much for that. I believe Councillor Wallace was next, actually.
Yeah, I think the document itself is fine. I'd have a query about alcohol, because all of the events, as far as I'm aware, have alcohol for sale. Have they in the past received consent from STC and DDC? Or are we asking them to apply for a licence or just for written consent?
So it should be, if it's alcohol, it should be a temporary events notice that they get from the district council. So we aren't in a position, we're not giving out licences for selling alcohol. That's dealt with by Dover District Council. But this is for us to invite people to book the event, because it is a space that we're managing currently, and it lays out very clearly what our expectations are. So people have to have the public liability insurance. If it's food, it's food hygiene certificates, all the necessary statutory requirements we would wish to see. And certainly, if there is alcohol involved, we would expect to see a temporary events notice.
But have they received those licences in the past?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, I think they have.
That is correct.
Okay.
Yeah, that is correct.
That's fine. I think my bugbear with this is the fees, because clearly I agree with the principle that we need to start charging for use of our land. I mean, it's Sandwich Town Council land, and we have to make a return on that. But I think we need more discussions with businesses, with the events organisers. We need to really sit down with them and talk about the impact of this, and we need to perhaps understand a bit more about their situation, their finances, their viability, The Folk and Ale, for example, is a fantastic event, and lots of money is changing hands, but we need to know a bit more about the finances of that. How much could they afford to pay? Personally, I would charge more for commercial events than is proposed here. I think we could get a lot more from a commercial outfit than from a non-profit or CIC or charity. But I just think we need to discuss this more. So my proposal is that we, although we agree the document, the fee element of it should be deferred for further discussions, perhaps in a round table with businesses and event organisers, or perhaps 2 separate meetings for businesses and 1 for the events. And we need to bring in sandwich community events and the individual committees of the events that take place during the year.
Yeah,
Because I don't think we can agree this, and I think also it's rather vague about what do we mean by small commercial event, half day or full day. Is that a bit of the square, the whole square, or so it needs to be a bit more precise, I think, in the language.
Send back the
Yeah, that's fine.
possible to do that.
Yeah.
Also the deferral from Councillor Morehouse. Will that give us time to?
So the deferral from Councillor Morehouse was January 2024.
Yeah, for the introductions, that give us time to perhaps look at those.
Yes.
Is that agreeable with yourself?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, that's a good point. Sorry, Councillor Carter.
I just want to ask, when are we start paying for the Market Square?
We've already started.
Start paying, then
It's already started, yeah, it's been going
that
on
means
for
we should start
a
charging.
considerable number of months.
If we start paying, we should start charging them.
Indeed we should, but we need to get the fees right to begin with. So Councillor Wiles is suggesting that we enter into discussions with the event organisers so that we know
But
what.
would that be, we tell them how much we charge rather than, they have to build in their cost, aren't they? So we tell them it's costing £500 to hire, they're building their cost. Because we are paying out already.
Indeed, yeah. Well, obviously it's got to be, there's 2 considerations. One consideration is the outgoings that Sandwich Town Council has on the square, and then the other consideration is what the event organisers can afford. So, as Councillor Wiles said, some of the events that are on the square are highly profitable and bring in a large revenue, so we need to pitch the fees at the right
But my
level.
understanding, if they can't afford, they can put an application for grant.
Indeed they can, but we have to pitch the fees at the correct level, otherwise we won't have any events at all, if that's understandable. Thank you for that comment. So, Councillor Black.
Yes, you've told us that you benchmark the fees for the market. Have you done something similar for the event fees?
Yes, so these fees are comparable with Dover District Council's fees. That's what I've used as a benchmark, and obviously another couple of local authorities as well. But Dover District, and that's the language that I'm used to seeing is small commercial, community, charity, so that there's a clear distinction.
May I suggest then, when you have these meetings, we seem to be going, and I'm not opposing that you actually have clear evidence and take it with you to the meeting, because obviously people will have different sources of information, and the more we can have that's hard fact, the better.
Yeah.
Thank you for that comment. I believe Councillor Marie has been waiting.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I am, as an event organiser, dead against these fees, and I'll explain why. Most of the 9 events that happen in the town are great events. They bring a lot of tourism, they bring a lot of money into the town for the businesses. They are low on money, so they rely on the Tollbridge Fund to pay that. So one, if they have to pay these fees, they're going to take more money out of the Tollbridge Fund, which means there's going to be less money in the bank account to pay other things, other events or other organisations. The other thing is, as I said, they're non-profit organisations. They're all constituted, so they work within their means. So they provide an event. The money they raise will go on towards next year's event, and so on and so on. I do feel that there is other ways of making money for a public works loan. I mean, myself and Councillor Wiles have spoken about, and to the town clerk, regarding the fees for using the building, the weddings and the hall hires and stuff like that, and the function rooms. I have spoken to the chair of SCA, the Sandwich Community Events Association. We've asked for meetings, roundtable meetings with the council, and they have been declined. So I will second Councillor Wiles to having a roundtable motion. I do think these need to be deferred at least for the time being. That we need to have a serious constructive discussion regarding the fees. It's not their fault that the council have to pay for the square. This is the last administration. We all know this. Okay, it's even before my time. So it's not their fault that they now have to recoup the money to pay for Sandwich Town Council's loan. So my proposal, I will accept with colleague Councillor Wiles.
Indeed, thank you for those comments. I believe Councillor Mallet.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's just with regard to the use of electricity, though I will concur with Councillor Maria, Councillor Wiles, that maybe it needs to be looked at a little bit more. In particular, with regard to the use of being the exhibitors or attendees' own cables. We do provide cables ourselves and breakout boards because we have a three-phase system, and it requires a certain type of cable coming from it. The other area is cooking with electricity. Now, I would propose that is simply banned, and that only cooking while you might heat water with electricity. If there's ever a problem with electricity, it is because people are cooking, and they will burn out their plugs, our systems, and they will cause breakers to go, which will cut out other people. So I think that can be fairly easily resolved.
Thank you for that, Town Clerk. I'll make a note of that. So, we've got two proposals already that we really need to move forward on. Is it appertaining to this?
Just a question about the benchmarking. We benchmark against district councils, but have we benchmarked against other town councils?
There aren't too many town councils that have a forecourt. That is the issue. Event spaces, that there are not many local councils that have that. That's why it tends to be the district councils that I'm looking at. But certainly if anyone has any evidence of local councils that have that capacity, then please forward the information to me.
Just very quickly on specifically that point, when you look at Dover's rates, the fees that they charge are significantly higher than what's included in this paper. So whilst it's benchmarked, the actual rates that we've included in this paper, that have been included, I've not included, they are significantly lower.
I see, okay. And finally,
I think the key point in this is we're not talking about an increase, a 10% increase or a 20%. We're talking about 0 to something different. So
indeed,
that's the key principle.
Indeed,
so I think we can't just bounce that into people's accounts and budgets. We need to discuss it in greater depth.
That is understood.
I'm happy to propose that.
Okay, I've got two proposals on the floor currently. The first proposal was from Councillor Morehouse to defer any fees being levied until 2024. I believe you said, was it the 1st of January, Councillor Morehouse?
I'd be willing to incorporate that into Councillor Wiles' proposal.
Okay.
We discuss in the meantime.
In the meantime, okay then. So the remaining proposal on the floor that will have the amendment of the deferred fees was Councillor Wiles's proposal. And could you just reiterate exactly what you wanted? You wanted a meeting with the events organisers?
I think either one meeting with businesses and events organisers who are affected by this proposal, or two separate meetings with owners and events organisers, just to really talk through the issues and to explain our financial situation and why we need to levy charges, but to understand also more about their financial situation and how we can work towards a compromise.
Indeed.
So
would that include the premises that are adjacent?
Premises around the forecourt, Costa, the sandwich shop, the Market Inn, anyone else who might be wishing to put tables and chairs on the square, plus all the events organisers.
Thank you very much for that. So that is the proposal summed up by Councillor Wiles. Do I have anybody to second that proposal? Councillor Morehouse has seconded that. So all those in favour, this is for a deferment of the forecourt fees so that meetings can take place with the businesses and the events organisers. Please signify now.
Yeah, 6, 7,
Um,
7 in favour.
okay, and we've had the abstentions. Was there anybody against? So how many did we have there?
7 in favour.
7 in favour,
Yeah,
is it?
that's
Okay.
it.
So that's carried.
Yeah.
So that's carried that the fees will be deferred until a later date after the meetings have taken place, and a proposal that the fees will be levied from the 1st of January. So that has been spoken on. Thank
Can
you
I
very much.
suggest that meeting's held within the next 3 weeks?
That's dependent on the time, isn't it? I think. What do you think, Councillor? We've got to be realistic about this. We've only got one town clerk.
Yeah, sure.
I don't want any pressure.
I'll try my best. I'll try my best.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much. If any members of the public would like to leave after that particular item, you're quite welcome to leave at this point.
Yeah, sorry, Mr. Mayor, just probably not clear that you're going to defer this as well. So that included the occupancy permit that you're deferring, yeah.
Okay.
Just to be clear.
Okay, just for clarity, that will include the occupancy permit for the Guildhall Square and forecourt will be deferred likewise until a meeting can be set.
I'm sorry.
Is there an issue with that?
Yeah, I thought we discussed, first of all, the higher fees for events and so on. We have not, I suggest, talked about tables and chairs. And that is a separate issue, I think. Now, it could be, I voted on that, but I don't, it's a separate issue.
So the final item is the occupancy permit for the Guildhall Square forecourt, and this is for access to the Guildhall Square and forecourt to enable the siting of tables and chairs to be undertaken daily and used by patrons of businesses. So the fees for tables and chairs are set by the Town Council and reviewed once a year when considering the budget for next financial year. And the proposed current fees are £50 per cover per year. For table and 4 chairs will be charged at £200 per year. Cost to be calculated on the number of tables and chairs that equates to 1 cover as per the licence given by Dover District Council. The fee covers the period from the 1st of April to the 31st of March of each year and would be payable in advance by the 31st of March. The fee will be calculated pro rata if the application is received partway through the financial year, and there will be no refunds if the permit is cancelled partway through the year. So this is the item we're discussing now. So we need to take this forward. Questions, Councillor Morehouse?
Just for the points of clarity, we've mentioned that the period of charges 1st of April to the 31st of March. Therefore, I would assume that begins on the 1st of April 2024, and that any fees for this year are waived.
That's up for
The
members.
wordings would
That would
suggest
be that would be for you to designate if
That's
that's
for
what
members to
the wording would
decide.
suggest that to me.
indeed.
Contractually, that would
Indeed.
suggest that.
Yeah.
That's
I
it.
included pro rata so that if you did decide that you wanted to charge from the 1st of October, for example, that could be calculated.
Councillor Marie?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Once again, I object to these fees. As we all know, the sandwich shop has just been awarded their new licence, change of name, which includes the 12 tables and 36 chairs. Is it 38 chairs? If all those chairs and tables, so if regard as the licence, this council will be charging the sandwich shop £2,500 per year to have their chairs and tables outside. Can I ask if Sandwich Town Council has approached Costa, the big massive coffee company that's outside, big huge chain, huge franchise? I don't know if they've been contacted regarding it because they have chairs and tables outside. Just one, if I can carry on, Town Clerk, please. Yeah, this is a small business. They've had enough. They've had enough suffering over the last 3 years. COVID hit, they had to close down. Then obviously the Guildhall Square works, as Ms Thompson said in her speech. I'm dead against these. I do feel that there's other ways we can recoup the money, and I don't think penalising businesses in the town is one of them. I do think, just one more, if I can propose, as Councillor Wiles proposed earlier, is to defer the payments, have a round table conversation with the businesses, such as the Salmon Stock Costa and any others who wish to attend, because I have previously asked for a round table a meeting with businesses and councillors and the town clerk, but yet again I was declined. So I think this council needs to start looking hardly at these sorts of things, because there's a lot of businesses out there that are getting quite angry with the way things are going.
Yeah. Can I just say, first of all, Councillor Marie, these fees which you and your colleagues will be voting on, discussing and voting on tonight, are applicable to anybody. Any business in this town that has licensed tables and chairs on that forecourt, whether it be in the local vicinity or the Admiral Owen or any other business, the Bell Hotel, if they wish to get licensing for tables and chairs on this forecourt, and it was agreed by Dover District Council, then this document would be applicable to all businesses. It's not applicable to one business.
But I'm saying, has Costa's been approached?
We won't actually approach individual businesses. The businesses have to approach us. If the businesses want a license for tables and chairs on the forecourt, then they will approach Dover District Council, and Dover District Council will approach us and say we've had a licence application for these tables and chairs. And once they've had that application, they will come through to us and ask us if we agree that. So that could be from any business. So it could be the Fleur de Lis. With all due respect, the Fleur de Lis could ask for tables and chairs to be licensed on the forecourt, and it could be considered.
I know for a fact that the Fleur de Lis won't ask, because they have the Dell Street closed every Saturday during the summer months. They have their chairs and tables outside. That's part of an event plan. As I said, if I make a proposal, I would like to propose that the charges are deferred until a round table discussion is held with businesses in the town regarding the tables and chairs charges on the square.
And I've noted your proposal, Councillor Marie. I didn't see who was first. Councillor Wiles?
Yeah, sorry, I have to apologise because I conflated these two items into one. But obviously this is a separate document. But I would like to propose the same approach, that we defer this for now and have discussions about it with the businesses affected, because it's effectively the same issue. It's about use of our space, and I've spoken to Andy Laslett about this. I've said, when you're using chairs and tables, you're increasing your floor space, and any business would expect to get a return from its floor space.
That is correct.
But it's a discussion that needs to be had.
Indeed.
A robust
financial
discussion.
Thank you. Councillor Chuka?
So just a couple of points on it. I agree with the round table discussion. That is necessary because it isn't about imposing. But a couple of points to mention is there are other businesses in the town that do use space that is council owned, not STC, and they are paying for the privilege of using outdoor space. So that's the norm. Also, having spoken to DDC myself, it's not unreasonable on our outdoor space to be charging businesses, and this isn't about any one business, individual business. We need to be seen as being fair for any business that wants to use our space.
Indeed, that's correct.
And it takes us back to the original point, is about if we don't charge for the use of the square, we will not be able to pay off the debt. We do not have other sources, so at the moment that we have legitimately agreed through the council that we can access. I know it was mentioned earlier about the Maddox bequest. That is certainly not within the terms of the legacy that Georgina herself left in terms of how the money could be spent. So unfortunately that is closed off in any case.
Ring fenced.
Yeah. Just want to make sure I've covered all the points I want to say. So just to mention, it could be seen by other businesses, and it's important to involve other businesses who are paying elsewhere. Should we start looking at businesses individually for the square? If we give preferential treatment, we will be open to criticism ourselves from other businesses.
Indeed, that's correct.
being equitable, being fair, but having a discussion about what is reasonable.
Indeed, thank you for that, Councillor Tudor. I think Councillor Gray was next.
Can I take it that if the council does agree to Councillor Wild's motion, that the principle that fees are raised has been agreed by the council, and the discussion is not whether fees should be charged, but it's the level of those fees which the council has agreed should be charged.
Okay.
Is that agreed?
We'd have to. Yeah, we'd have to.
If not, I'll propose it.
Yeah, and then Councillor Morehouse.
I just wanted to clarify the situation that Costa
Yes, sorry.
rent their lounge from KCC.
They're on the
So you
ancient
would have to
highway.
contact KCC to find out what the arrangement is with
Yeah,
Costa.
we can't charge them.
Thank you very much for that update there. So Councillor Marie, so your proposal's going forward now.
Yeah.
Councillor Gray's proposed an amendment to your.
Which was, sorry, Councillor Brown, I didn't quite hear
Does
it.
the council approve the principle of fees being paid, and the deferment is as to discuss the level of the fees?
A round table meeting. So would you accept that amendment?
No.
You can't ask members
I'm
of the
working
public.
with.
No. Councillor Marie, you can't consult with members of the public. The decision must be made by this council.
Let Mr. Mayor, please, my previous proposal was to defer all payments, not amend any payments, to defer all payments until a round table meeting has taken place with businesses in the town regarding the hire for the tables and chairs on the square.
Right.
That's my proposal.
Okay, sit down. Right. Do we have a seconder for that motion?
Which motion is that?
He's just read it out. It's the motion is to completely defer the fees. Completely. So do we have a seconder? You're seconding it,
I
Councillor
just
Morehouse.
wanted to ask a question about the proposal.
No, we've got a motion on the floor now, so we need to.
Does that deferral, as I stated in first, contractually, we've stated that we begin the fee paying on the 1st of April. Now, I'm assuming that's the 1st of April 2024. That's crystal clear according to the document.
That's right. Well, that would be dependent on the councillors to decide if the document goes ahead. So, Councillor Marie, just for clarity, could you repeat your proposal, please?
Yeah, I'll say it again for the third time. My proposal is to defer all payments and all charges regarding tables and chairs on the square into a round table meeting has taken place regarding businesses and councillors regarding the charges on the square. Charges of the chairs and tables on the square.
So that's it. So you've all heard that. Now I need somebody to second that.
No, sorry, Mr. Mayor. Procedurally, you have to take the amendment to that.
I did take the amendment,
Okay.
and it was
I refused the amendment.
refused based on the comments of the public at the back. So that amendment has been refused by the councillor. So that is the motion we're voting on. I need somebody to second it, and then we can vote on it. So,
Yeah, I'll second that.
okay, so Councillor Mallet is seconding that. So could you show your cards as to whether or not you agree with that proposal, please? Okay, right, so
One abstention.
an abstention. Okay, so that motion has failed. We now go forward and we ask another councillor to put forward a proposal. Now, I believe Councillor Wiles, you had the beginnings of a proposal.
Okay.
Would you like to
So
clarify
my
your proposal?
My proposal would be to take on board Councillor Gray's suggestion that we defer this in order for a roundtable discussion to take place with businesses affected by the proposals, but that we accept the principle that a charge of some size will be levied at some point in the future.
Brilliant. And could you just sorry, could you designate whether you would accept the date? Sorry,
The 1st of April next year.
the date from Councillor Morehouse, because
Yeah.
oh, thank you. Okay, I'm now looking for a seconder for this.
I will second that.
So that's Councillor Gray, second that. Okay, could you all now vote as to whether you are for or against that motion, please? So,
Two against.
six,
How many?
four.
Six,
Okay,
four, thank you.
6, 4. That's in 2 abstentions.
Two abstentions, thank you, so that's carried.
Can I have the vote recorded, please?
Indeed, you
Yes.
can, Councillor Marine.
Yes.
So, Councillor Wiles, your proposal goes forward on this document, and in due course we will arrange a meeting with the businesses for that to go ahead. Okay. Right. Is that the last document?
It was, yes.
Right, that is the last document for those items. Members of the public, if you wish to, you may leave at this point, or you're more than welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting, if that's okay. Thank you very much. Okay, item number 11 is financial information, and this is to receive and note the Sandwich Town Council Statement of Accounts as at 31st of August 2023, income and expenditure budget, and this is attachment number 5. Is this including these? Oh no, we've done those.
Right, we've done that.
Oh, that's good. So I would like a proposer and a seconder for the financial information, please.
Propose.
Thank you very much, Councillor Marie, and the seconder, that's Councillor Ripley. And all those in favour, please show of your cards.
Yeah.
Anyone against? No, that's good. Thank you very much. That's item is passed. Thank you. And item number 12 is standing orders, working group update. And members are to consider a report from the standing orders working group with a proposed draft of conduct for council to consider and adopt. And I would firstly like to thank the standing orders working group for undertaking this work once again, working quietly in the background on most important issues that are relevant to this council, so thank you for that. So I believe everybody's read the draft document. Does anybody have any issues to raise? If not, I will ask for a proposer and a seconder for this document, please.
Could I just ask?
Indeed you can, Councillor Ripley, please stand.
I noticed at one point you also asked about membership of organisations. Would that include organisations such as Freemasons, Rotary Club, all those sort of organisations? Is that included?
I believe it's anyone's that where you're a member, if you are a member
Okay,
of an
so if you're a
organisation.
Freemason, you should declare it up front.
If there is a members register
Yeah.
for the Freemasons, they would have to declare that.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Franklin.
Yeah, well, society was, I don't see how you can enforce that, because we've had this argument every year, every council, every 4 years we have the same argument. If they decide not to tell you, and it's a secret society, what can you do? You can't enforce it. It's enforceable, is it?
We can't enforce it, Councillor Franklin, but if something crops up thereafter, and it goes against the code of conduct for both this council and Dover District Council, then
Well, you know, they're a Freemasons, I tell you.
well, if something came up and then it was revealed that they were and they hadn't declared it in a matter, then that would be investigated by Dover District Council. That's all we can do.
It's
We
a
can't-
national weekend, we've got our hands tied, haven't we?
That's
Every 4 years we've tried this, haven't we, for ages?
well, indeed, but
I
that's
just
all.
say, just because it
Councillor
doesn't
Ripley.
work necessarily, doesn't mean to say you shouldn't try and enforce it.
No.
Because that you could just give in to everything under those circumstances.
No, indeed. But as Councillor Franklin's quite rightly said, we would have to rely on the integrity and honesty of the members of this chamber. So that's all we can do. Councillor Gray.
It is a criminal offence not to declare interest if you're a member of one. So the consequences are quite severe if it is ever found out if you fail to disclose it. And hopefully that will be enough for the integrity of councillors to disclose it.
Thank you very much for that update, Councillor Gray. Okay, so if there's no further discussion on this, I'd like to propose it myself. Would anybody else like to second this excellent document? Councillor Flagg. And all those in favour, please signify with your cards. Councillor Franklin.
now, I think, you know.
Oh, okay.
Abstention,
Councillor Frampton,
thank you.
abstained.
Okay.
So that is carried. Thank you very much. And item number 13 is the Maddox bequest, and members are to consider a report from the responsible financial officer in relation to the Maddox bequest and the proposal to open a discretionary managed account with EFG Harris Allday to hold the shares bequeathed by Georgina Maddox, and a decision is required on this. As some of you may be aware, at a previous request we invited members of EFG Harris Allday to come in and address the councillors, and I believe that was, I wasn't able to make it, but I believe it was a very successful meeting. And I looked at the information from that meeting, and I was 100% assured that it would be the best option for the holding of these shares. So I have no concerns or worries at all. The two items that we need to vote on is, number one is to submit an application with the 4 designated signatories, and secondly that we would monitor the performance on this organisation as to the shares that are undertaken in that portfolio. Councillor Chuka?
Yes, just before we vote, because I did attend that meeting, the report itself refers to the completion of an investor profile form, and that is about determining the level of risk that the council is willing to have its investments made. So whilst the working group actually gave an indication of what the profile might look like, a number of us here did that, I made it clear that it needs to come to the town council to agree that profile. It's not within the working group's remit to determine the risk profile for an STC investment. So that's subject to that. I'm happy with what's occurring in terms of this report, but that needs to come to the full town council.
And did you have a proposal tonight for that risk assessment?
What's the proposal that we're voting on now? If it cuts across it, what's the proposal?
So the proposal we have is to submit an application with the 4 signatories, which could include an agreed risk assessment.
Yes, so I think there is a proposal, and that is that before we finalise the details of the investments with the company, that we, as a council, take the opportunity to agree the risk profile, because that will determine the investment level in terms of risk. So I'm asking that the town council takes the risk profile process and agrees it in a full council meeting.
Right, so did we have a risk matrix from the, they usually give a risk matrix?
I haven't got that information. The RFO will have one.
Oh, would she have that? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I believe the responsible financial officer would have, there's usually what's called a risk matrix, which you put forward.
Yes, it was completed by the company, not by the finance officer. They took it away. I said to them they needed to bring it back to the town council to agree the final.
Okay then, thank you on that. Councillor Franklin, please stand.
As you know, this is just interim, while we still haven't got all the shares.
Oh, it is.
It is. That's what I'd like to recommend it. And we did say it'd be a medium, we would go for any high risk. And it's more or less what Georgina's shares have. We're not moving any shares. The shares, whatever Georgina had, managed they're all blue chip. So we don't have to put aside any risk. And I just hope that, we just recommend that we go ahead with both these proposals, because I think they're both urgent, and it's dragging on now. So hopefully we can move forward a bit slowly, but successfully.
Unfortunately, we haven't got the information for the risk assessment tonight. So if we went forward,
so I'm happy to change. Can I change my proposal that we bring the risk profile exercise back to the next meeting, so it shouldn't stop this vote? So as it happens, that we do need to do the profile.
Yeah, that would be very good of you. Thank you very much, Councillor.
We are planning a meeting on the 5th, so we can discuss this on the 5th, and then come back to the next council.
So would you accept Councillor Chuka's proposal that we vote on what we have before us tonight, and accept that risk assessment before the application form goes in.
Yeah.
Would that be suitable? Because then we can move it forward.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, so we have a proposal on the floor to go ahead with submitting the application form with the 4 signatories only when the risk assessment has been achieved. And item number 2 is to have continuous monitoring of the performance with this company whilst it is with them for the interim period. So I'd like a seconder for Councillor, because that's Councillor Gray.
Second that.
And thank you. And could you vote with your cards accordingly, please? So that's all in favour on both those items. Thank you very much, councillors. And item number 14 is Monk's Wall Nature Reserve report. And members are to consider a report from the Town Clerk with an update on the works that are taking place at the Nature Reserve. There are 2 requests for additional works that are required for the site, and a letter to be received. That has been received from the Environment Agency. I think that might be a letter to be to be agreed. Yes. I suggest on that matter. That's been received from the Environment Agency, and we have some decisions to make on this one. And this is to approve the quote from the company called Rhino for £2,460 to meet with the Environment Agency and the Monk's Wall committee members. And item number 3 is the ditch work costs of £2,249, which would be claimed back, so it would cost the council nothing on that one. Councillor Marie, did you have a question?
I just wanted to ask, how come there's only 1 quote and not the normal 3 that the council asked for?
Are you talking about the Rhino plant works? Yes. So this was carried out by the warden for Monk's Wall, and it's urgent work, and there wasn't sufficient time. And Rhino plant have actually done more work earlier in the year. So it's
I know we agreed some work in the previous couple of previous meetings about 6 months ago. However, normally standard protocol for Soundstown councils have 3 quotes for different people. So the council agrees on the correct quote.
Yeah, that's absolutely agreed. It is normally 3 quotes, but in this instance, it's very urgent. The Rhino plant are on site, and it's felt to expedite things and make sure they didn't have to come back, and it wouldn't be an extra cost. It would be sensible to ask them to quote as they're already on site. Thank you.
So you'd have to accept that consideration, right? Councillor Franklin?
Yeah, I mean, it is a company that we dealt with before on Monk's Wall Rhino plant.
It is indeed.
It's a local company, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
And the thing is, we did agree about a year ago for about £56,000 worth of work on Monk's Wall, which hasn't been carried out yet. And it is not our money, they do have their own funds.
Exactly, it is their own budget.
The town council.
Indeed.
So I think it's urgent that we do go ahead with this. And Rhino, like you say, are already on site anyway.
Exactly.
Because to get a bulldozer on site costs £3,000 just to get it on the land without them doing any work. So if they're there,
costs,
let's go ahead with it.
Thank you. Is that your proposal, Councillor Franklin?
Yes.
Thank you very much. So we've had a proposal for those 3 items. Do you have a seconder for that proposal at all? Councillor Carter? I'll take Councillor Carter as the seconder on that one. So all those in favour of these 3 items, please raise your cards.
Yeah, thank you.
So that's, thank you very much.
Just to add to that, Mr Mayor, so obviously one of the decisions here was about the Monk's Wall subcommittee, so I will be contacting the members of that subcommittee and setting up a meeting with the Environment Agency and the warden for Monk's Wall as well.
Yes, it'd be lovely if you do get the Environment Agency. They've done so much work over the years in the flood defence, and we had loads and loads of snagging, so if we can get them there at the start, we'd be absolutely brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Franklin. Okay, item number 15 on the agenda is Rotary Club of Sandwich request, and this is for members to consider a report from the Town Clerk, who has received a request from the Rotary Club of Sandwich for approval to use the telephone kiosk. This is the one that's sited in Delft Street, for siting a defibrillator, and the decision is required. This is attachment number 9. Now we have had a letter in from a member of the public about this. We won't actually ask for the letter to be read out, but Councillor Marie, you may give the gist of the letter from the
Yes,
member of the public.
so back in February, before elections took place, the former Councillor Sampson proposed the restoration of the telephone boxes that this council purchased. One of them, the main one, was at Delft Street. Andy Stiles has been working very hard with businesses, the Aussies, the fish and chip shop and the waiting room, with funding and bits and pieces to get this up and running. It is slowly getting there. He's still waiting for some volunteers to help. Hopefully there's a caretaker scheme have offered to help them in the not too distant future to help to sort that out. He has requested that he has spoken to the Rotary and he is willing to work with them, so it's going to be a dual role. So it would be a defibrillator room or box plus it'll be a tourism bit for leaflets and bits and pieces.
Super, thank you for that, Councillor Marie. Councillor Ripley's hand up first.
No, I was just going to say, I do apologise, Mr Mayor, but I'm a member of Rotary.
Oh, right.
I won't take part in the discussion, but
Indeed.
here. I'm going to sleep.
Okay. Could you make a note of the declaration of Councillor Frampton, please? So, thank you. Councillor Ripley, I believe your hand went up.
I believe it did. Thank you, Mr Mayor. Yeah, I just wondered if somebody could clarify for me, because they keep coming up in discussions and etc. about the community caretakers. Who, what, why? Are they an official group? Who appoints them? Are they paid? You know, I just want to know their role in the town and how they can influence things, or why they can influence things.
Can I ask, that isn't actually a part of this agenda item, so could I ask that that's submitted to the town clerk as an independent query, please, if you don't
Well,
mind?
their name has come up with regard to this work, which is why I'm asking about it.
Yeah, indeed. We might not have anybody here this evening to answer that question. So unless anybody can answer that question. Councillor Marie, could you answer that question?
I am part of this community
Oh, are you?
scheme.
I didn't know that.
It is a Dover District Council organisation. It's volunteered, it's unpaid. It's currently run by former Councillor Harry Sampson and Councillor Friend from DDC. We have over 20 members, volunteers at the moment. We do take part. I saw some councillors walking around last Saturday when you were doing a walk round. I was currently clearing the mill wall of trees and debris and stuff with the community caretakers. So they've got a Facebook page. They are online. If you want to find out any more information, just look on the Facebook page.
Thank you very much for that update. So I think it was Councillor Tuker first.
So back to the report itself. So,
Indeed,
so defibrillators, I understand the value of them,
Indeed.
but we seem to be starting from the wrong end of a discussion, which is here's a solution, implement it. So first of all, the questions I've got is, I've looked at defibfinder.co.uk, which is a go-to site in terms of where defibrillators are located. In Sandwich we have 9 that are registered, plus 1 that's at Discovery Park. There's also 1 in the taxi rank, which isn't in the taxi office, which isn't registered there. So my concern is that we've got 1 within 100 feet of an asset that STC owns, that if we accept this and we're just saying put it in there, that's the asset gone. I'm not aware of any discussion, certainly we haven't in this council, about what we want to do with that phone box. But this is saying we have to move to this solution. And within what's been prepared, certainly within the report, there's no detail.
No.
It's a defibrillator. So what about the maintenance around it, the costs? Who's going to pay for that? What about the electrical installation of it?
Indeed.
A phone box, people might dismiss phone boxes, but actually they're grade 2 listed. It's in a state, Councillor Marie has mentioned to it, it's in a state of repair that isn't to the standard required. And I would like to, but it's a secondary issue, to suggest that we actually take it back into STC's hands. We work with Andy Stiles in terms of working out how we take this forward. and get it done. It's been running since it was mentioned from a previous council and the previous administrations. We're talking 7 months in the past.
That's correct.
It would be good to help Andy, and maybe we might even come up with another solution that helps get it done.
Indeed.
Councillor Wiles might want to jump in on that in a second. So my question is, are we willing to allocate one of our assets to this solution with a lack of detail?
Indeed.
And also there are other sites around Sandwich that I would think probably might benefit from a defibrillator. I've looked on the map. I can't see that the Sandwich Technical College has got one. There may be a reason why not. I can't see that the Jubilee Centre has got one. There may be reasons why not. And there may be other places. I'm not sure having a influx of defibrillators in a very short space is necessarily the right solution, but that's my personal view.
Thank you for that, and I'll just respond to you on that matter. This item is open for discussion for councillors, so the actual matters that you raised are valid matters as to, do we take this forward, how do we take it forward? So I thank you for raising those. As to the consideration of, do we agree this, do we not agree it, do we defer it? So, and then I pass over to Councillor Wiles, please stand.
Yeah, so the two Gilbert Scott phone boxes in Sandwich are K6, 1935 Jubilee. They're listed grade 2. If anyone is proposing to do them up, there's a very specific specification, British standard paints, mastic, glass, etc., etc. It has to be done to quite a tight specification. You can't just go blundering in with a tin of, you know, post office paint and think that's going to do the job. And what's been done, it's great that Andy and co started on the project, but I'm sorry to say it's not in a good looking state at the moment.
Right.
So I think the other issue I think is that defibrillators do not need to be indoors. They can be stuck on a wall in a box. There's no need for it to be in a phone box. And the original intention was that this phone box would be a mini tourist office. And I think we should stick with that proposal. That STC take control of this. The new caretaker, working perhaps with Andy and with Ron from the town team who did the King Street box very well.
That's correct.
Really well. As a team and with other volunteers could do a good job on this.
So is that your proposal, Councillor? Okay. Please sit down. Do we have a seconder for Councillor Wiles's proposal? That's Councillor Ripley. Okay. And could you vote accordingly with your cards as to that proposal? This would be the deferring of this.
Yeah.
Okay. And 1 abstention. Okay, so that
Mr. Mayor, may I just quickly, just briefly, so...
We've actually voted on this, Councillor Rees, there's no further discussion.
To answer a question that Councillor Wiles mentioned. So when the Sandwich Town Council purchased the telephone boxes, they were given restoration kits by the people that they purchased them from, which Andy Stiles has.
That's very kind of you, thank you for that update. That's very kind, thank you, Councillor Marie. That was relevant, so I thank you for that. Jumping to item number 17 now. This is the committee membership review. Members to consider a report from the Town Council in relation to a review of committee membership. This is attachment number 11 and the decision is required. At the start of the Town Council year, the Mayor decides who goes into which committee. That will be changing in future, but that's what happened this year. You've all been put onto committees and outside bodies. This is the agreed review of that. So if anybody has any issues or concerns, this is your time to raise it or forever keep your peace. There is also an additional matter. I'm going to hand over to Councillor Black in a minute because Councillor Black is being considered for a new committee that he will be going on to. Councillor Black, would you please address the council?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was a bit surprised and rather embarrassed by the way this came out. The sentence focused around one person. I'm sure that wasn't the intention. Let me make you aware of the background and why I've asked for this. We were asked after being elected which committees we prefer to be on. I nominated two, the Heritage and Townscape and Financial and General Purposes. I specifically said I didn't want to be on planning. Well, at the meeting I was informed that I was going to be on planning. I publicly declined that and I repeated my request to go on to F&GP. based upon the knowledge and experience and so on that I do have. It's an issue, I think, that is quite difficult at the start of a new year, because obviously you don't have necessarily the absolutely full range of knowledge about that. Now, and the town clerk and I have had a long discussion about what I have done. So I think it's something that I'd like to be on the F&GP. That's up to you. And I would also say that the distribution of councillors is a little bit asymmetric. You've got 8 councillors on one committee, each are on one committee. Right, now that may be choice, that may be business commitments and so on. You've got 3 on 2 committees, you've got 3 on 3 committees, and you've got 1 on 4 committees. I'm not sure that in the long term that's the kind of balance that you should be looking for. And I will withdraw at this point.
Indeed, thank you. Okay, so the 2 items that we have under this matter is number 1, to consider the committee membership. If everybody is happy with the committees that they're serving, then that can go ahead. And then item number 2 is to consider Councillor Black joining the Finance and General Purposes Committee. Councillor Marie, did you have a question?
If I can make a suggestion, seeing as Councillor Pennington is currently ill at the moment, to take the workload off of him, maybe I should make a proposal to temporarily at least remove him from finance and allow Councillor Black to take his place.
Indeed, that's a good suggestion. Thank you then. So I'm proposing that the current committee membership, item number 1, continues as it is, and item number 2, I am proposing from the chair that Councillor Black, as Councillor Marie has quite rightly said, joins the Finance and General Purposes Committee. Would anybody like to second that proposal? Thank you, Councillor Chuka. And all those in favour of that?
Sorry, I don't.
Is that okay, Councillor?
So are you saying that Finance and General Purposes will increase to 10 members?
No.
No. Pennington.
Yeah,
Okay, that's
swap.
fine.
So are you voting for that? Okay. Is anybody against or abstaining? No? Oh, that's an abstention. Okay, so that item was carried. Thank you for that. Could somebody retrieve Councillor Black from the corridor, please? Okay, Councillor Black, I can tell you that you have been selected to serve on the Finance General Purposes Committee, and the Town Clerk will notify you when the meetings arise.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you very much.
Okay. Item number 18, this is the Peace Monument proposal for Sandwich. Members to receive a report and update from the Town Clerk in relation to the formal invitation received from the twin town of Sandwich called Ronsa, and the NSB FNC, which is the Royal Federation of Belgian Veterans, for Sandwich to be the first town in the UK to have a peace monument. This is attachment number 12. As an update, I will give you an update from the chair. This item was something that was raised during the mayoralship of Councillor Franklin, and he passed it on to myself. We have both had meetings with a member of the public who is assisting this, and this is that our twin town of Ronsa wishes Sandwich to be the first town in the United Kingdom to have what is called a peace monument. Now, this is at no expense whatsoever to Sandwich Town Council. The monument is being supplied for free. Its travel or transport to this country is being provided for free, and it will be for the ceremony and a temporary period of time. It has been agreed to place it on the Guildhall forecourt. so that a formal ceremony can go ahead. This council will then be asked where they wish the memorial to be sited thereafter. So this is an interim settlement for the ceremony to take place. Because it's the first one in the UK, it is a very prominent matter. And this matter, I can't go into the detail, but there would be very prominent members from both Belgium and the UK governments that would be attending this ceremony. As I say, I won't name names. But this will really put Sandwich on the map. Now, this isn't a war memorial, this is a peace memorial. So we're asking tonight about this peace memorial. The town clerk has given a report as well, and the ceremony would take place on the 27th of October. You've been asked to note the report, but I would take questions if you had any.
Just a quick question. Within the report itself, it says it's been confirmed the stone will be freestanding and will be on a clay that can hold the weight and does not require to be fixed or anything. Reversing that means it can be moved. So I'm slightly worried. Is it true that it can be moved? Because it will be moved.
It is extremely heavy, I'm assured. So it will have to be transported on a pallet truck. So it's not something that somebody can pick up and take anywhere. It would have to be.
Can it be shoved over though? That's the question, I suppose.
I'm told that it's very stable. So this plinth will take all the weight of it, and it will be very stable, is what I've been assured.
There's a risk there.
I'd also just like to add that the town clerk has made inquiries, and due to it being a memorial, it does not require planning permission. So, and they've agreed that in writing. So basically, it's to note the report that this piece. Indeed.
Yeah, I know it's what's it, but I think we're being pushed into this. I think we've been agreed to find a spot for it to go permanent, not to have a temporary space for it. Because you were giving us a date, now you're saying we're going to note this, and we're not really discussing it. We did say, a lot of us thought, we've got the war memorial at the church, and also we thought, like the Key Green. So I think we're being pushed just to note, and I'm not happy with that.
Part of this, Councillor Franklin, part of this is to realise that this is an interim measure just for the ceremony to take place. If the ceremony doesn't take place in October, then the memorial goes to another town. It goes to another town. Well, that's what we've been told.
I don't believe it will.
Okay.
I think we're being pushed.
Councillor Marie.
Yeah, I agree with Councillor Franklin, I'm afraid. Last month we decided that the town clerk would speak to them and give them other alternative places to put it. I don't think the town square with a busy road, bus stops, bus parking outside every 15 minutes is the best place for a peace memorial. It's a peace memorial, it's where it's quiet, it's where you reflect, not on a town square where it's busy with traffic and people walking up and down. I do agree with Councillor Franklin, it should be on the quay, it should go on the quay, it should stay on the quay, because it's more peaceful, and also the event could be taken down on the quay. It's a more beautiful, I'm not saying that the square is not beautiful, but it's more beautiful than the forecourt.
Okay, if I can just reply to Councillor Marie, the town clerk informed me the site that has been chosen is the preferred site by Dover District Council, who actually own the quay side.
Is there any evidence of that? Is there any evidence of that?
I believe so. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, that is what I'm telling you, Councillor. Councillor Mallet.
Mr. Mayor, I previously suggested the position immediately behind the uplighter for the signpost for the museum. In the event that this is a temporary position and that there are dignitaries coming, and that the signpost is 4 bolts holding it down, this would be the optimum place for it, considering it will show that we care.
That's correct. Indeed. And I believe that was taken forward, Councillor Mallet, because that was raised at the last one. And what did Dover District Council say? I don't know. Would you like to?
I haven't had a response yet, so I can chase on that.
Oh, so it could go in the position that you've said. So we'll chase on that response. But this is in theory allowing the temporary siting of it on the forecourt and the ceremony to go ahead in October. So Councillor Wiles.
It's not clear from this what the dimensions of this stone are from the photograph, and will it also include the white?
No, it will not. No, it will not include the white. No, it is the dimensions of the size of a headstone.
Okay.
So we're being asked to note the report. That's what the town clerk's asked us. So I will propose noting this report. Would anybody like to second that? Councillor Ripley. All those in favour, please use your cards to signify, please. And anyone against or abstaining, please notify.
Against the location, not the Peace Memorial.
Okay, that's 2 against. Thank you. That item is passed. Thank you very much. Item number 19 is draft terms of reference for the Disability Access Strategy Working Group. Members to consider a report from Councillor Anderson that relates to the proposed draft terms of reference for the Disability Access Strategy Working Group. Members are invited to adopt them, and this is attachment 13. So we're being asked to consider and ratify the terms of reference. I would quite happily propose those if anybody is happy to second that. Councillor Wiles, and all those in favour, please signify. Thank you very much. That's all in favour. Thank you for that, councillors. And then item number 20 is confidential matters under the Public Bodies Admissions to Meetings Act 1960, extended by Section 100 of the Local Government Act 1972. The public may be excluded from the...
Sorry, Mr Mayor, I think someone wants to defer that to the end of the Tollbridge Fund.
Oh, do they?
Yeah,
Oh, indeed.
so.
Oh, I've not seen a proposal. Councillor Morehouse.
Propose we prefer this to the end of the Tollbridge Fund meeting.
We'd have to vote on that. Has anybody to second that?
Mr Mayor, I would second that. However, can we ask for a short break before we go into Tollbridge? 5-minute break before we go into Tollbridge Fund?
Yeah.
20 to 9. So what is that the agreement?
You can do it. Yeah, that's right.
Be all right,
If everybody agrees.
Okay, then. We'd have to vote on that. So we're voting on deferring the confidential items from Sandwich Town Council to the end of the Tollbridge Fund, and we're voting on having a very short break, comfort break as well at the same time. Those in favour, please signify. Yeah, okay. Beginning this meeting as the Sandwich Tollbridge Fund meeting. Councillors, could you please take your seats immediately?
Right.
Are you present? Thank you. Okay. Thank you, councillors, and welcome to the Sandwich Town Council ordinary meeting of the councillors trustees of the Sandwich Tollbridge Fund. Please peruse your agenda as necessary. Item number 1 is apologies for absence reprieve.